Where are you from?
I'm from Korea.
India.
Bangladesh.
Thailand.
China.
Malaysia.
Cambodia.
Myanmar. Mongolia.
The Philippines.
Taiwan.
Indonesia.
Hong Kong. Sri Lanka.
Vietnam.
Japan.
Growing up, I never got taught how to speak Indonesian. I guess it's because I was born in New Zealand and being half European, it's not something that my parents thought about as much because most of my family is European here. But growing up, I have been able to understand and pick up terms and just get a general conversation, but I'm not fluent. I would really like to speak Indonesian. It sucks because I can't, so when it comes to my mum's side of the family, I can't really join in on conversations. So being able to speak it would be awesome.
Here it was kind of there was less Asian people. There was more Western people to involve myself in. And I really had no idea what the lingo was, had no idea what most things were when I moved back to New Zealand. So getting to know all these Western people, I just fully adapted and I just started developing all these westernized characteristics and stuff, and that little Asian part of myself kind of went into a box. You're so saturated with these westernized characteristics that you should have.
We speak our native tongue at home, so that's kind of the last link, because I don't wear Indian clothes and I don't like Indian food, but I do respect the culture and appreciate it, but I don't partake in it mostly. So yeah, I do feel a bit detached.
For sure, I've tried to retain the food because I love my cultural food. But yeah, I love being around that family sort of culture. But I haven't really gone out of my way to sort of show my culture. But yeah, for sure, I enjoy the family culture, and I'll probably try to bring it into the rest of my life. Yeah.
Especially in my childhood, I was so self-conscious of speaking Korean outside of my house. I just felt like it isolated me even more because I already looked different from everyone else.
I went to school in Myanmar, so things were obviously quite different to school here. Little things from when you were younger, type of lunch that you brought, or how you dress, and all of that was very different. It was almost because I grew up here, I was different from this culture, and when I went back to Burma, Myanmar, wherever, I didn't fit in there either. It was kind of a weird medium in between.
I never really felt embarrassed about the color of my skin or my culture, but I guess it almost felt like I was living two lives, one at home versus one at school and everywhere else, where I felt like I was a different person. At home, I felt Indian, I talked to my parents in our native language and all that sort of stuff, and I ate Indian food, but then the moment I left the house to go to school, it was as if I was a completely different person, and that entire Asian side of me kind of vanished.
I can speak Khmer. It's it's not fluent, I guess. So at home we speak Khmer all the time. It's just me and my parents because they don't know how to speak English that well. So yeah, but it's not fluent. So when I go over to my country and I talk to my family, they can't understand me.
So in some ways I would say that I'm a bit detached from my culture, but in other ways I'm not, because my own personal culture is a little bit of Western and New Zealand mixed with a little bit of Mongolian. My dad would call this me being a banana, which is basically when you're yellow on the outside and white on the inside. Yeah.
Sadly, Mandarin never caught on with me, so I'm stuck being a basic English speaker only. And that's actually one of my big regrets, because my grandma actually passed away 2 years ago and she couldn't speak English, so I was never really able to get to know her or communicate with her. I've been told all my life, she is such a loving, wonderful person, and of course I could see that in the way that she acts, but it's just, I wish that I could have gotten to know her the way my mom did, the way my cousins did, the way my uncles did, you know.
However, there has been instances in my life where I have been insecure about my culture and found it hard in terms of accepting myself for it. Instances would be when my parents and I would be in malls and they'd speak in our own language, which is Tagalog. I'd get embarrassed because we'd receive subtle looks from other people. I also went through phases in my life where I didn't like how I looked. I wanted to fit in. Like, you don't want to feel inferior to them. You don't want to be perceived as an outsider. So you kind of just have to conform to their ideals.
I can't really speak it that much. I can't speak Tamil that much. I can understand quite a lot, but just speaking, I haven't really grasped the concept fully. Just because, obviously, in New Zealand, we don't like, English is our primary language, and when we go to school and when we talk to everyone and we communicate, that's the language we use. So I've gotten used to like understanding that language fully, and the need for like learning Tamil is not really like present. So that's why I kind of didn't really grasp it fully.
For me, it's the really small things, and I look back and I would laugh at it, but it's the things like, oh, I can't go out with my friends, I have to be home at certain times, I can't have sleepovers with my friends, those types of things that made me embarrassed to be Vietnamese. There's a point in life where I wanted to be Western, I wanted to be something other than Vietnamese. I wasn't proud to speak the language. I always think in English, I dreamt in English, like everything like that. So I wanted to avoid the Vietnamese language.
So I came to New Zealand at the age of 4 or 5. It turned out I'm not that good at, I can't really speak fluently, nor can I write fluently, but I can hear like a normal conversation and like pretty much find my way through. I want to address something that I'm not that grateful for, I'm kind of sad for. Because of my language barrier that I have with my parents, I felt like there's this distance between like me and them that can't really be helped by me. Like, I couldn't help it except for my effort into learning Japanese, and I feel like that really brought down the bond between my parents and I.
I always obviously when I was growing up, and fitting in is a huge thing for kids, you know. They want to be like everyone else. I sort of felt like I wanted to leave a lot of that culture behind, sort of just to blend in with the other kids and stuff like that. But like, I feel that definitely as you grow older and you mature, you really like appreciate where all of that came from.
When I was growing up, I watched European TV shows and there weren't many Asians in it, so you grow to idolize these European stars, TV stars, movie stars. And then personally, because there's not much representation of Asians, you think, okay, so pretty people are Europeans. They have to have white skin, they have blonde hair, or they have blue eyes. And then it just makes you feel self-conscious.
I don't think I do have any role models that are my ethnicity in the Western world. I'm not sure why, I just don't think it's very common for Bangladeshi people to be very famous and have the opportunity to be heard.
In terms of portrayal in the media, I've always kind of noticed how there was this lack of, like lead roles that have Asians. I found it a little bit sad for me, just because I'm wanting to go into the entertainment industry, with acting and theatre and stuff like that. With movies like Crazy Rich Asians and like Fresh Off the Boat, it's nice to see and it's encouraging, when there are lead roles. So it's like, maybe when I get there, I could be a superstar. So yeah.
It's only been recently that they've had more like Asian like actors and actresses and singers like come out, but like you still don't see a lot of them, and if anything, we're still stereotyped in like like what Asia looks like what Asians look like is like one face, but it's not. and it sucks that like people these days, they don't realize that like Asia has like so many different faces. There's this post that I saw one time and it's like Asian looks like this, and it was like all these different faces like from people from from Asia, all across Asia, and I was like, wow, that is so true. Like it's not just like small eyes, like can't speak English, like we're so much more than that.
So watching not as many Asian actresses and actors on TV made me have many doubts in myself as a little kid. And if I were to pursue a career in acting, I thought that I'd only be able to play, you know, stereotypical Asian characters because those are the only ones that they present to us in the media.
I think it's amazing that like things are starting to look a lot brighter. You know, there's less stereotypes, and it's nice to know that people like us are like, maybe look different in this sort of society. And it also creates like a profile where younger kids, where, you know, instead of having that mentality like mine when I was younger to fit in always and like be like everyone else, at least they can have someone to look up to and know that anything that they want to do is possible because of themselves and not because of their racial profile.
Hey again! Thanks for watching part 3 of What Does Being Asian Mean to You? I'll keep this one short and sweet, but I'm really genuinely grateful that you've chosen to watch something that I've created. So as always, keep on being proud to be Asian, and I'll see you for part 4.